A good host's secret is to make guests feel that your home is their castle.
There's just a big wave.
So a simple meal from your kitchen is the key to true hospitality. Good to see you guys. Let me share a secret recipe. Discover an ingredient that fires your imagination. Choose other flavors to match. Find the best way to cook them. My secret recipe? Cooking without a recipe. Rachel's family's traveled a long way for a visit this weekend, so our time together is precious. I volunteered to cook brunch, so I want to create a simple, tasty breakfast affair to kickstart our day together. In the morning, you need something foolproof, something AM-proof, like my fail-safe brunch bake. But even though I've made this dish a million times, it still has room for experimentation in it. This dish is a great way to rev your kitchen up in the morning to get your creative juices flowing. All it is bread cubed up and baked off with some eggs, some milk, and whatever else happens to be in the fridge. Sausage. And I always like to put some cheese in it too, aged white cheddar cheese. You know, I used to be a country inn chef for many years, and we had a very busy dining room at night. But every now and then I would cook the breakfast shift just for kicks, and I loved it because the kitchen was always so quiet when I got there. Okay, take a look at how many eggs you have, and then add about the same amount of milk. Should do it. Just whisk that up. Might as well add some salt and pepper to this. This dish has three basic parts: the egg mixture, the bread, and then whatever else I feel like mixing in. Now, the bread works best if you take the time to first toast it, to slice it up and toast it. That way it dries out, it develops some nice toasty flavor, and in the end it soaks up the egg mixture a lot easier because the bread is dry. So I'll toast those off at 350 degrees for, about 15 minutes or so until they're nice and brown and have lots of flavor. That gives me time to get this sausage ready. And since I'm going to brown it, I might as well get some onions into this too. Now, the reason I'm going to brown the sausage off is quite simply to add flavor to it. I could cut it up raw and just mix it right in, but then it wouldn't have that beautiful roasted caramelized flavor that makes sausage taste so good. So here's a way to jumpstart the sausage. I'm just going to add a splash of water to it. Now that water's obviously got to cook right back out before the sausage can start browning. But by adding the water, I encourage it to start cooking evenly. That way it doesn't start to burn in one particular spot. It also gives me a moment to add the onions to the pan. Here's another way to encourage all this onion and sausage to get going. Simply put a lid on. And I'll just put the cheese straight into the egg mix. It looks like I'm going to add about a pound or so, but if you wanted something seriously cheesy, go ahead and double it. Cheese it up. See how those sausages are doing. So I'll turn this down to low and let those flavors mellow. You know, I don't make brunch every weekend, but when I do, I always like to add a little flash and flair to it. I mean, hey, brunch is festive, right? So a while back, I saw this picture of this really cool-looking smoothie in one of the food magazines, and I thought to myself, you know, I can figure out how they did that. Let me see if I can. And of course, when you're making smoothies, the riper the better for the bananas. Yogurt is such a good way to start your day, and it tastes great. Now I'll just top this up with some OJ. Looks like there's room for some more flavor in there, though. I love the way nutmeg tastes with banana. Some flavors just go together naturally. Part 1. Now here's where it gets interesting. I'm only going to fill these glasses about, halfway or so. Add some frozen strawberries right to this. Maybe just a touch more orange juice. I really don't care if I nail it exactly the way it was in the magazine. I'm just sort of inspired by what I saw. Look at that. It's the colors of sunrise. Now that's a sunny way to start the day. Now, once I get this brunch bake in the oven, I'll see what other creative juices I have percolating up my sleeve. Here we are. Gabe's aunt, his uncle, and his baby cousin are all here for the weekend. We just love getting our families together. I'm banging out brunch so we can all fuel up for a big day at the beach. Hey, my kitchen is always ready to welcome friends with lots of healthy, comfortable flavors. These potatoes are going to get steamed off, and then later, I think I'll make some pancakes out of them. But for now, I'm aching to get my brunch bake bacon. I have the 3 parts to my signature brunch bake prepped and ready to go. Part 1, the egg base. Part 2, toasted bread. And Part 3, the garnish, which today is sausage and onions. Now this egg base is nothing but equal parts egg and milk with a whack of cheddar cheese thrown in. And of course that cheese could be any cheese you happen to have kicking around the kitchen. Sausage and onions, nicely browned off. Just look at all those brown flavors. And now all you really have to do is just toss all this together, because a good idea now is to let this rest for a few minutes and give that dry bread a chance to soak up all the flavors in the egg and milk mixture. It needs just a little bit of color. Tarragon. That's kind of a sharp flavor to get the day started. Why not? Tarragon. But of course, you could use whatever herb you happen to have kicking around. And they don't have to be fresh. Dried herbs can work here as well. And even spices. This dish is a great way to get your day started. I mean, it's easy to cook. And it's easy to experiment with, too. It's a great introduction to the great big world of breakfast flavors. Why did the chicken cross the road? To find out if he came from a brown egg or a white egg. As it turns out, he, or is that she, could have just as easily looked in the mirror. Whoa! Because the color of an egg is entirely dependent on the color of the chicken who laid it. White chicken, white egg. Brownish chicken, brown egg. But is there any other difference between a brown egg and a white egg? Nope. The color of the shell has nothing to do with the quality of the egg, its nutritional value, or even its flavor. In fact, the incredible edible egg is one of the single most nutritious foods in nature, quite simply because it contains all of the exceptional goodness that a little baby chick needs to grow into an exquisite road-crossing chicken. Now, I don't know about you, but every day I do enjoy a tasty, nutritious glass of orange juice. Besides, it only comes in one color. Now, no breakfast is complete without some spuds, so I'm going to form these potatoes into some nice little cakes, and then I'm going to brown them off. So bacon is top of the list. And I'll just dice this up a bit. Here's my fail-safe way to brown off bacon. I always start with a little splash of water, not too much. And what'll happen here is that basically the water will even out the temperature in the pan so that the bacon browns evenly. So usually for a pound of potatoes, I usually add about a cup or so of cheese. Okay, see how that bacon's doing. Looks like it needs some color too, some green onions. Okay. Now I want to make sure that as I start mashing and forming that into cakes that they actually hold together, and for that, got yet another magical egg. All right, it's mash time. There it is. Now it's always a good idea to make potato cakes like this from cold potatoes because they just don't get all gluey and goopy on you, and of course, they're easier to handle when they're cold. There it is, a potato cake ready to brown. There we go. I still have time to come up with yet another brunch dish.
Throw it in. Way to go.
The house is jam-packed with family guests this weekend. Gabe's aunt, uncle, and baby cousin are all here. And before we head off to the beach, I'm cooking up a beautiful brunch. I love cooking for guests. It's probably the best way to welcome anyone into your home, too. On the menu today, my simple brunch bake. Simply created from a hearty whole grain loaf of bread, gently baked with eggs, cheddar cheese, sausage, and white onions. I also made some tasty cakes with steamed potatoes, bacon, more cheddar, and green onions. I am the king of French toast. I spent many years as the chef of a great country inn, and the whole time I played around with my breakfast menu. For me, French toast is just the start of a little breakfast improv. You could call it AM culinary calisthenics. French toast really is easy to make. Now today I'm using raisin bread, but of course you can use whatever bread you happen to have kicking around the kitchen. Now one thing I like to do is make nice thick slices. Check this out. With a nice sharp knife and a little bit of finesse, you can easily cut a pocket right into the heart of the French toast and cram jam it with just about any flavor under the sun. I mean, I could use maple syrup, honey, nut butters, jams, jellies, dried fruit, or marmalade, orange marmalade. Why not? How about a spice flavor to go with that? Something that goes with orange marmalade. Cinnamon, cardamom, cloves, allspice, nutmeg, star anise. Why not? Licorice flavor, orange and licorice go together. That's kind of a cool way to start the day. I have discovered, though, that for best results, you need a flavor vehicle. You need something like cream cheese with a neutral flavor that will easily carry other flavors. Take a look at the cream cheese and add about the same amount of orange marmalade. Now, here's how to get it into the little pocket. That should do it right there. Work it right in. So it's pretty strongly flavored stuff, so don't add too much because it can get a little soupy when the time comes to cook the French toast. I'm going to clean up a little bit, and then it's time for the egg batter. Now I usually add about a cup or so of milk for every 4 eggs. Now for that star anise, it looks like I need to grind it up. Whenever possible, I like to grind my own spices. That way I guarantee the freshest, most intense flavor possible. And there's my egg mixture, ready to go. So now for the cooking oil. Of course, neutral oils don't have a whole lot of flavor. And I don't know about you, but the best flavor for cooking French toast is butter. But butter burns very easily. So the best thing to do is combine a little bit of butter with a little bit of cooking oil. And that way I get the best of both worlds. I get an oil that I can cook and brown in, and I get an oil with lots of buttery flavor. Hear that? That's the sound of French toast crying out for my all-time favorite breakfast sauce. There it is. Blueberry maple sauce. Love this stuff. And you don't have to wait for brunch to make this. No morning meal is complete without the flavors of blueberry and maple. Classic. Toss 4 cups of fresh or frozen blueberries into a small sauce pot with a single cup of maple syrup. Aromatize with a splash of vanilla and a spoonful of your favorite breakfast spice: nutmeg, cinnamon, cardamom. Simmer the mixture for a few minutes, stirring occasionally until it reduces and thickens a bit. Pour it into dishwasher sanitized jars and refrigerate until needed. Now you may decide to taste it every day, just to make sure it's still good. It's still good. Imagine orange marmalade stuffed star anise scented French toast with blueberry maple sauce. But wait, there's more. After you dip it into the egg wash and before it hits the pan, you could just as easily dip it into something crisp. Something like, say, sliced almonds or shredded coconut or oatmeal. Look at that crispy oatmeal goodness. In it goes. Now we're talking. Oatmeal crusted orange marmalade stuffed star anise scented French toast. Not bad. My brunch bake is looking good. It's time to start browning off those potato pancakes. We're one big happy family this weekend. Dave's aunt, uncle, and baby cousin are all here. And after brunch, we're all headed for the beach. I just love revving up my kitchen and welcoming guests into my home the best way I know how, by cooking for them. This French toast turned out really nice today. And wait till everybody bites into it and finds that it's stuffed with orange marmalade. And I browned off my potato cakes in that leftover bacon fat because, hey, today I'm running a brunch spot, not a spa. Look at that. And oh yeah, that brunch bake, does that ever look good? There we go. And I dug out some smoked salmon too. Of course, this is purely optional. If you don't have any smoked salmon at home, don't sweat it. These potato cakes are great just the way they are. All right. And a tiny one for Gabe, who I happen to know doesn't really like smoked salmon, so we'll leave that off of his. And I've got some sliced green onions to jazz that up a little bit, because brunch is all about presentation and flavor. There we go. You know, you can welcome guests to your home with lots of tasty flavors and creative cooking too, because a comfortable meal is everybody's favorite way to relax and feel at home. And when you do, you'll feel great cooking and you'll fill your kitchen with the true spirit of hospitality. Is this really her first food? Did she like it?
Not too sure. Is the French toast good, Gabe?
Hey Gabe, you know what's in that potato? There's bacon in it. That's basically just bread and eggs and cheese. It's kind of like an easy quiche, you know, because the bread's in it.
This looks fantastic.
What's it going to be, Gabe? Sausage or beach?
Beach.
Thanks for coming this weekend, guys.
Thanks for having us.